Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today we're talking about a really simple concept. See, the thing is, when you're just learning game dev, I feel like nobody explains the really simple concepts. So I'm going to do a few videos just explaining that because, man, it took me a long time to wrap my head around this stuff. And once you know some of these concepts, it will make game dev in PICO-8 or any engine a lot easier. So today we're talking about functions. Sometimes they're called methods, sometimes they're called events. They're all basically the same thing. In Pico, these should look like this. In Pico, there are three main functions: init, update, and draw. And a function is just a chunk of code that runs at a certain time. There are built-in functions that kind of come with the framework or with the game engine that are called automatically certain times. So for instance, in Pico, this _init function, this is called as soon as you run the game. So anything that you put here is going to happen the very first thing that happens in your game. And so when you are building your code here, inside of this init function, this is going to be like the very first things that you want to set up. So something like declaring variables, anything that you kind of want to set up before the player actually plays. Update gets called 30 times a second. And so this one is really good for kind of the interactive side of things. So if you're pressing down a button, if you are changing things in the world, if you're moving things around, that kind of thing, that generally happens in update. Draw is similar in that it happens 30 times a second, but it always happens right after update. And it's the last thing that Pico thinks about in a frame. This is generally where you'll put in code that actually draws things to the screen. But each of these functions is a place where you'll put a chunk of code that you want to happen at a certain time. So I have this map. And let's say we want to put this on the screen. Well, for a map, we don't really need to do anything in the update or init functions right now, but we do want to draw it to the screen, so we're going to use draw. And to do this, we need to draw two different commands, which are actually in themselves functions. The first one is clear screen, which is CLS, and we have the two parentheses. Anything with the two parentheses after it is generally a function of some kind. And you may be wondering, what are these parentheses for? Well, the parentheses let you pass in some kind of value to the function that will do some more advanced things. For instance, if I type CLS and then I save this and run by just hitting Control R, then it clears the screen and it gives us a black screen. Okay, that's just by default. But if I say CLS3, what I'm doing is telling it to clear the screen, but use color 3, which if we switch over here, that is this green color. So now when I run this, we have a green screen, because I'm calling the function clear screen and I'm telling it a specific way to do it, okay? Most of the time for clear screen, you'll just say clear screen like this, and then maybe you'll draw a map. So map like that. So what this will do is draw our map with kind of the default settings. I hit Control R, now we're drawing our map. So we're clearing the screen every frame and then we're drawing the map. So we have 5 functions here: init, update, draw, clear screen, and map. So that's some stuff in the draw function. Now let's put something else in the draw function. Let's say print. This again is a function, but in between these parentheses, I can put what I want to print. So in quotes, I'll say some text like that. And now if I save and run, we have some text in the upper left-hand corner. So it's just printing that text. Again, I can tell this even more information. If I say comma, maybe 16, comma 16, what that's doing is saying print. Okay, what do we want to print? This string right here, some text. Where do you want to print it? 16 on the x-axis and 16 on the y-axis. Boom. So that's why it's down and to the right a little bit now, okay? So the more that you get familiar with functions, the more you'll understand these different parameters that you can put in here, these different arguments. And they're different for every function. And some of them you just have to memorize or look up each time. But once you use Pico or the engine that you're using and you get used to the functions, you'll start to remember the order of these different arguments and what they mean. You can always look them up with a cheat sheet as well. But now let's do something fancy. Let's use this init and I'm going to make a variable. Okay, so we'll just call this text and we'll call it, this is variable text. Okay, so what we're doing is setting a variable with the init function. So the very first thing that happens is we say, okay, Pico, whenever I type text here, T-E-X-T, without any quotes or anything like that, that's a variable. And what it means is this string right here. This is variable text. So now we can take this, some text here, and just replace this with our text variable like this. And now I can run this. and it loads that in. It says this is variable text. Now, to get some interaction happening on this game, we can do that in the update function, okay? Because this is a really great place to kind of calculate things before you draw them. Just make a quick little couple lines of code here. What this is an if statement, which we'll go over as well in one of these videos. It's basically saying if you do something, then do something else, which is kind of the main basic way that you can test for things in Lua. And again, we have another little function here. And what this does, this is button P, which means button just pressed. So if you press the button just now, and then you tell it which button you want to test for, which is going to be our X button, that's going to return true or false. So if this is true, then set the text to button pressed. If it's false, don't do anything, basically. So now when we run this, it says this is variable text, but when I hit X, it switches that to button pressed. So that's really how that works. That's how kind of functions work. There's built-in functions like init and update. I guess you could call these more like events that get called automatically by Pico. And then these are the built-in functions. These are like clear screen, map, print, that kind of thing. But you can also make your own functions, which is really, really handy, especially for kind of organizing your code a little bit, right? So I could make a function. I could just go down here and say function, and I can call this whatever I want. Let's call this change text. And then I make those two parentheses like that. I'll hit end. And now I can put a block of code here that I want to happen whenever I call change text. So let's just go ahead and copy this button P code here. I'll hit Control X just to get rid of this. And I'll put this in here. This button P, button pressed X if statement here, that's not going to happen on the update. So if I hit save and run and I hit X, nothing happens. Because the only things that are automatically called are init, update, and draw. And even though there's a function here in our script, it's only going to do this stuff in here when we specifically call the function inside of one of these built-in events, init, update, or draw, okay? So I could just call the function here, change text, like that. And what that will do is run the code that's inside of that, which will let me change this text when I hit X, when I press the button. So it's kind of like we're taking all of this code and we're putting it right here with one little line. And so this is really nice because you can kind of keep yourself organized. You can reuse big blocks of code in different situations just by calling it like this. I'll show you one last thing. Remember, we can put advanced stuff in things like print, right? We can actually use our own arguments in these functions. And what you do is you go to your function where you're kind of describing what your function is, and you can type variables right here inside of these parentheses. So maybe I'll say txt for text, like that. And now instead of button pressed, I'll just get rid of this and type txt. So what this is doing is for the function, whenever this function is called, whenever a change text is called, it's going to expect me to type something in between the parentheses. Whatever I type within these parentheses, that's called the argument. And that argument turns into a variable that is only used inside of this function. It's basically a local variable, okay? Then anything inside of this function, I can put whatever I type in between these parentheses wherever I put this variable, so txt. So right now what we're doing is setting our global text variable, which is right here, to txt, which is whatever we're typing here for change text. So who cares? Why would we do that? Well, it makes it easy to do specific kind of fancy things. So now I can say change text and I can just type the text right here like that without having to type all of this stuff. And now if I hit X, change it and it goes to new text. Then I can have this function and I can reuse it without having to hard code in every message that I want. And I can easily change the text to change this to just inside of this function call and this argument, right? This gets really helpful when you have multiple different pages and lots of different functions and different states and all these different things that happen in your game. And maybe you want a character to collide with a certain tile. You can say collide and have all of your collision stuff here in this function. And then you can tell it what kind of tile you want to collide with here. It's really, really cool because you can make your custom functions to do some pretty advanced stuff. All you have to do is kind of build it right. So that's kind of how functions work. If there's still something confusing about it, let me know in the comments. Also definitely recommend opening up Pico and just making something like this. Literally like take this code and play around with it until you start to understand how to pass in an argument, how to use these variables, because it's really, really helpful when you get to make a game that's even just a little bit complicated. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this kind of basics video. If you did watch to the end, hit that like button. It helps me out, and I'll catch you later.